Welcome to the deep dive. So, you're probably here because that idea of funding your travels while you travel, well, it really hits home, right? We're
Mm.
talking about those travel jobs, location independent online work, ditching the usual routine, earning your keep from anywhere with like a decent internet connection.
Absolutely. And if that sounds good and you want the key info on how to actually do it without wading through tons of stuff, well, you're in the right place.
Exactly. We've gone deep into this really interesting article that lays out a whole bunch of these kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, and our mission today isn't just to list them off. We want to really pull out the practical stuff, the core insights so you get a clear picture of how you might actually finance your own adventures.
Okay, let's get into it. First up, a classic, really, in this whole digital nomad space, blogging.
Right. The article frames it as, really rewarding, super flexible. And the big hook is that the income potential, well, it's theoretically unlimited.
And obviously, the huge appeal is changing your office view whenever you feel like it. That location independence.
But it's important to grasp, I think, that while the potential is there, making consistent money takes strategy. It's more than just writing.
Uh-huh.
It's about creating content people actually want to read, building an audience, maybe figuring out different ways to monetize the blog itself.
Yeah, like ads or affiliate links or products.
Exactly. But the author's own story is quite encouraging, earning over $36,000 in the first year without, apparently, having specific skills beforehand. It makes it seem pretty accessible.
It does. And for anyone listening thinking, okay, but how? The article points to a step-by-step tutorial. That's super helpful. Takes it from just an idea to like a first action you could take.
Definitely. So moving from writing your own stuff to, well,
Yeah.
sharing knowledge directly, let's talk online tutoring.
Okay.
Yeah, the article stresses how simple the setup is. Basically, a laptop, headphones, reliable internet.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Pretty minimal.
And with that, you can tap into this huge global demand,
Yeah.
especially, it seems, for ESL English as a second language teachers. And the pay can be quite good.
Right. They even give an example, VIP kid, saying you could earn maybe $15 to $22 an hour.
Mm.
That gives you a ballpark figure, a potential starting point if teaching online sounds like your kind of thing. And they mention a link to find even more companies, so there are options out there.
What's interesting there, I think, is how it shows you can take a skill you might already have, like speaking English fluently, and turn it into income that isn't tied to one place.
Yeah, it's a great example of that location freedom the digital world offers.
Totally.
Okay, so maybe teaching isn't your thing. What if you're more about like organization support roles? Let's look at virtual assisting or VAs.
Right. The article defines VAs as basically remote customer service pros, admin support, doing all sorts of tasks. And it's naturally popular with people who travel a lot.
Makes sense.
And the potential pay stands out. Even for beginners, they're suggesting a range of, what, $35 to $50 an hour?
Wow, that's pretty significant for starting out.
It is. It shows how much businesses value reliable remote help. Of course, the tasks vary hugely, but good VAs often specialize, maybe in calendar management or certain software, social media tools.
Getting good at specific things probably bumps up your rate, too.
Oh, definitely. And if you're thinking about this, the article mentions a fantastic course, apparently, that covers starting up, finding clients, the whole process.
And that free list of 150 services a VA could offer, that sounds incredibly useful just to see the possibilities and where your own skills might fit in.
It really does. So it prompts the question for you, listening,
Yeah.
are you organized? Good communicator? Got admin experience? VA work could be a really solid, well-paid way into this travel job world.
Good point. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Something more specialized. Travel nursing.
Yeah, this sounds like a fantastic fit for qualified nurses who also love to travel. The key point the article makes is that travel nurses generally earn more than regular registered nurses.
That's a big draw.
It is. Now, it might mean longer shifts sometimes or working in different places, but that extra pay, plus the built-in travel, it's very appealing for nurses wanting that nomadic lifestyle.
Yeah, really blends a needed profession with that freedom to explore. Okay, now, for something maybe a bit less known, working as an au pair.
This one's interesting because of the cultural exchange aspect. You live with a family abroad, help with childcare,
And in return,
you usually get free room and board, a real chance to immerse yourself in the culture, learn the language, plus some pocket money.
so it's less about high earnings maybe and more about the experience. Language, culture, living somewhere new.
Exactly. The free accommodation is a huge financial benefit, even if the weekly stipend isn't massive. It's a different value proposition. Great for someone prioritizing that deep cultural dive and language learning.
Makes sense. Okay, back to the digital world. Social media consulting. For people who are already all over social media anyway.
Could be a good fit. It's basically managing social media accounts and strategy for businesses, blogs, brands, and it's inherently remote.
Right.
As long as you've got internet, you can do it from anywhere. The article suggests looking on platforms like Upwork or Freelancer to find projects.
So if you've got a feel for creating engaging posts and understanding trends, this seems pretty accessible. Now, how about something that makes travel cheaper, even if it doesn't always pay directly? House sitting.
Yes. So typically no wage here, but you get free accommodation.
Which can give a ton of money.
Huge savings, especially on longer trips. You look after someone's house, maybe their pets, while they're away.
And the pet part is a big bonus for animal lovers. Free place to stay and furry friends. Win-win for many.
Definitely. And they mentioned in another article about finding trusted house-sitting gigs, which is useful because you want reputable platforms for that.
Good point. It really shows a creative way to trade your time and responsibility for lower travel costs. Okay, for the creative types listening, freelance photography.
Yeah, the article brings this up. It acknowledges it takes time, to build your skills and portfolio. It's not instant income.
Right, you need to be good.
Exactly. But it points towards helpful resources. Digital photography school, LinkedIn Learning, Kelly One places to actually improve your craft.
And if you do get good,
the potential pay is decent, maybe upwards of $30 an hour eventually. So passion plus skill development could lead somewhere.
Okay. What about interacting with people more directly, tour guiding?
Yeah, earning money by showing people around places you know well seems great for longer stays somewhere, or if you're a digital nomad, really soaking up the local scene.
Feels like you'd need real local knowledge for that.
Absolutely. And they mentioned an interview with someone, Alexandra Kennan, who actually built a successful tour guiding business, so it's definitely doable. A real-world example.
Cool. Now, what if you speak more than one language? Translating comes up.
Big opportunity there. The article highlights that translation is a massive, multi-billion-dollar industry globally.
Wow.
So if you're bilingual or multilingual, that's a serious asset. Websites like Translators Cafe or ProZ are mentioned as places to find work.
Good starting points.
Yeah, and the advice is practical. Start with smaller projects to build experience. There's also a link to another article specifically about online translation jobs in 2024.
Great reminder that language skills are super valuable for this kind of work. Okay, shifting to more passive income, renting out your own place on Airbnb.
The classic strategy for frequent travelers. You're away anyway, why not have your home earn money for you?
Seems like a no-brainer if you own property and travel a lot.
Pretty much. It can generate significant income, often with fairly minimal ongoing effort once it's set up. The article calls it a totally passive travel job.
Nice. Offsets your own travel costs, maybe even makes a profit. Okay, here's one that sounds a bit different. Voiceover artist.
Yeah, maybe less common to think about, but high potential for location independence. There's a lot of demand for voiceovers, for ads, videos, audiobooks, e-learning.
What do you need for that? Just a good voice.
A good voice helps, but also decent equipment, a laptop, a good microphone, headphones, and probably some quiet space to record.
Makes sense. And where do you find the work?
The article lists sites like Buddy Studio, Guru, Twine, Upwork, places connecting voice talent with projects. Plus, more linked articles on how to get started and find beginner jobs.
Interesting. So another niche skill you could potentially monetize remotely.
Exactly.
What about doing smaller gigs? The article mentions Fiverr.
Right. Fiverr is described as a platform for earning through all sorts of short tasks or services. It's really broad.
Like what?
Oh, anything from social media marketing help, creating an ebook cover, doing internet research, basic graphic design, loads of stuff.
So you can offer lots of different skills there.
Pretty much. The options seem almost endless. It really taps into that whole gig economy concept, using whatever skills you have.
Flexible.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one on the list, and it sounds like a potentially big one, freelance writing.
Yeah, the article suggests this could be one of the highest paid online paths.
Really?
Potentially. They even mentioned the possibility of earning a six-figure income while traveling, using Holly from Earn More Writing as an example.
Wow.
It definitely underscores how valuable strong writing skills are in the digital age. Content is king.
Right. True. And again, they point to resources, an article on finding freelance writing jobs specifically for beginners.
So yeah, another strong option if you have writing talent and are willing to build a client base.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. And I think the big takeaway as we wrap up this deep dive is just the sheer variety of options out there now. It's not just one or two things anymore.
Absolutely. From blogging and tutoring, which feel quite established, to things like travel nursing or voiceover work, there are so many different ways to potentially earn money while you see the world.
And these aren't just, little side hustles that barely pay. The article suggests many of these can be real sustainable income sources. They can be flexible, enjoyable.
And actually fund those travel dreams without constantly worrying about money running out. That's the key, isn't it?
It really is. Which leads us to that final thought for you, the listener. Looking at your own skills, your interests, what kind of travel you enjoy. Which one of these paths that we've talked about actually sparks something?
Yeah, which one feels like it might just fit?
Exactly. Which opportunity might be your key to unlocking those location-independent adventures? Definitely something worth mulling over.